This conference will now be recorded.
واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير إنك على كل شيء قدير Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Ya Ali Madad Aziz sir.
Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad,
Ali
Subhanallah, Subhanallah.
Madad.
बहुत ही खूबसूरत आयत कि या अली अल्लाह हमें हमारे नूर को हमारे लिए मुकम्मल कर दे। द अंडरस्टैंडिंग यहाँ ये है कि हमें इमाम ने एक नूर इनायत किया है, उसको मुकम्मल कर दे, उसको मुकम्मल कर दे, क्योंकि तू ये करने पर कादिर है। You have total authority, Amar, to do so. Subhanallah, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Thank you so much for a great reminder and a tasbih from the Quran. This is Surah Tareem, ayat number 8. Let's start on our journey and the last session on Roza and Ramzan. Nur Maulana Shah Kareem Al Hussaini, Hazir Imam, Hazir Imam. या मौलाए मेहरबान मदद फरमा, अल्लाहुल कय्यूम, अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा। या मौलाए मेहरबान, या मौलाए मेहरबान, तेरी मदद, तेरी तरफ से जो नवाजिशात, दुआएं, खाना वदान, रहमतें नाजिल होती रहती है हम गरीबों पर, उसी की वजह से हम इस जमीन पर कुछ रेंग सकते हैं मौला। और तेरी बाबरकत इल्म व हिदायत ही से हम कोई अल्फाज, दो अल्फाज बोल सकते हैं मौला, वरना तू जानता है मौला हमारी गुर्बत का ये हाल है मौला कि हम कोई नुक्ता इल्म का बयान करने के काबिल नहीं मौला। या मौलाए मेहरबान, अपना नूरानी हाथ, अपना बाबरकत दस्ते मुबारक हम गरीबों पर रखना मौला, ताकि हर हमेशा हम तेरे ही रास्ते पर, तेरे ही इल्म और तेरे ही फरमान के मुताबिक चल सके मौला। या मौला तौफीक, ताहीद, हिम्मत व यारी, तौफीक, ताहीद, हिम्मत व यारी मौला। Once again everyone, Ya Ali Madad, today we will conclude our session on Roza and Ramzan. That is our understanding, and that is Ismaili understanding. This ilm, knowledge, is for you and your confidence, not for you to go out and argue with people. It is not for them, because each tariqah of Islam has their own rites and rituals and way of practicing. But as a whole, Islam and Muslims follow the Shariat-e-Ilahi. Shariat-e-Ilahi, those laws which are given in the Quran related to Allah, meaning number one and at foremost, be a good person, be a human, be a righteous, do not harm other, help others. Then comes the pillars. Then, only then, if we have not fulfilled our initial duty of being righteous, none other would matter. None other would matter. And we will see in our reflection of part 1 and 2 again and again of that sort, that understanding. What was the meaning of the Roza? The meaning of the Roza was to restrain oneself from the bad deed, being righteous, because that is the command and the law number 1. We talked about in our part 1 the Shariat and how does Shariat transform into Tariqat, Hakikat, and eventually Marifat, which is the goal. And we talked about the example of the Shariat and the Tariqat and the Hakikat. Because Sirat al-Mustaqim, the Islam is the nature and natural religion based on human nature. Then, as the human is born and grow older, that is the nature. We do not stay a baby, and we do not continue to take the milk from the mother's breast, but we grow and we grow and we grow and become, inshallah, one day a strong person, a wise person. And that is the goal of a human. Just like that, there are 4 paths in the religion: the Shariat, the example of a born baby; the Tariqat, example of a young man going to school; Hakikat, example of a grown man in his 30s and 40s; and then example of the Marifat is the example of a wise man. आप समझ गए कि चूंकि हमारा मजहब डायनामिक है और सिरात मुस्तकीम पर आगे से आगे चलता रहता है, तो उसके अंदर जिद्दत है, कंटिन्यूएशन है। ऑलराइट, इसके बाद हमने अपनी शरीयत के जो हिस्से थे उसको देखा था कि किस तरह से शरीयत इलाही है, और उसके अंदर नंबर 1 जो था वो गुड डीड थी। गुड डीड यानी कि बी अ गुड ह्यूमन, दैट वाज नंबर 1। उसके बगैर कोई चीज जरूरी नहीं है और ना ही उसका कोई फायदा है, बिकॉज you have not fulfilled the law number 1 to be righteous, and all the other pillars are there to make us perfect righteous person, more righteous, more perfect, more purified. Then we talked about the Shariat and Nabawi. If someone argues that once Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has given us a Shariat, why do we change? And we should not change. That is the argument. And that argument goes against the human nature. If we say all the prophets and Nutka were sent by Ali Allah himself, then we would have only one Sharia Adam. Why did Hazrat Noah change? Because as per your argument, once we are given, it cannot be changed. But that is not a human nature, and Allah has put his religion practices on human nature. And you can see that in Surah Rum, ayat number 30, that how the nature of the religion, the Islam, is the nature of the human. And then if we had the Shariat Musa, why would Hazrat Isa would change? And if we had Shariat Isa, why Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would change? If it cannot be changed, then it cannot be changed. That is the false argument. Those are the exact false argument which left majority of the human behind, away from the true path, away from the true hadi guide. यही वो आर्गुमेंट थी जो माजी के अंदर अगर हम देखते हैं तो आज दुनिया के अंदर पुराना से पुराना मजहब हिंदू है, क्योंकि उन्होंने यही आर्गुमेंट दी थी। इन्होंने एग्जैक्टली ये आर्गुमेंट दी थी कि जो शरीयत हमारे पास है वो हमारे लिए काफी है, हम नहीं चेंज करेंगे। फिर इब्राहिमिक ट्रेडिशन के अंदर यानी कि अहले किताब के अंदर लोगों ने यही आर्गुमेंट बार 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 दी। After the Hindu, the Buddhist and the other religious of the world, they gave the same false argument that what we have is good enough for us. We do not need your prophets. And that was the same argument after Huzur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Muslim gave that we do not need Ali because we have the book and the guidance of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Is that the argument you are using? If that is the argument, then congratulations, you are amongst the majority of the humans. Because Muslims are in minority amongst almost 8 billion people. How many are we? We are not even 20% or 25% of the world population as a Muslim, as a whole. And then remember, it was Muslims who gave the same false argument for Mullah Ali. And even after Mullah Ali, in so many times, people gave same argument about the previous Imam compared to the current Imam and say we do not need current Imam, whatever we have in the past is good enough. But that is not a nature, and that's what we learned earlier. So after the Shariat al-Nabawi, the purpose, the essence didn't change. What Allah had given us is the same law, but the practice changes, the forms changes. Like a child, the child himself does not change. Just his way, his form, his height, his weight, the way of talking and walking changes. The forms change. The essence doesn't change. Essence doesn't change. So if someone say we're going to keep the same form as before, what he or she is saying, I would like to be a baby. I do not want it to change the form. But that is against the nature, against the Allahi laws. शरीयत इलाही के against में ये बात होगी. Okay. Now we had talked about after the Shariat understanding in our part 2, we talked about the ilm, meaning we talked about the tariqat. And what was the farameen in the time of tariqat? And we have taken 3 sources. one from the Imam Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah Farman, one from the Pir Pindayat Jawab Mardi, 600-700 years old, and one from the Wajahiddin, 1,000-year-old. 3 sources in different time. And amazingly, all 3 sources talked about the same thing. So it is not something that we just made up today. In Tariqat, it was taught to take the batin of from the Shariat and learn the truth. And the part of the practice to be righteous was, and that is the one to restrain themselves from the bad deed. And this requires a constant and a daily practice, not a 1 month or one time practice, but a constant practice of 360 days. The real fasting is of your thoughts. Always be conscious of your thoughts. Thoughts. Be careful. Do not think evil, bad about, or envy anyone. And we saw that in same line of Farman in Imam Muslim Sibillah's Pir bin Dada Jawamardi on chapter Roza. That as the Zahiri, ordinary Muslims fast, the Mu'mineen fast for 360 days every day of the month and a year. And what was the purpose of that? To control yourself. That was the purpose. To restrain yourself. That was the purpose. So you may purify. But this is again the talim of the tariqat. And we started to touch on the hakikat at the end of our previous session. And I had requested that if you wanted to know the hakikat, look at this ayat and see what it says. And that is where we will begin today. And what was this ayat from Surah Baqarah? O you who believe, decreed upon you is fasting. So condition is for the believers that there is a decree upon you is fasting as it was decreed those before you. तो पता चला कि रोजा कोई नई बात नहीं है. पहले मज़ाहिब के अंदर भी रोजा रखा जाता था. क्यों रखा जाता था? Remember, the form changed, the essence didn't change. And what was the essence? So you may become righteous. This was the essence. This was the essence. Not to stay hungry, but so you may become righteous. And the question Nachis had asked, those who keep physical roza, you think they automatically become righteous because they are hungry? I wanted to give you an example that just few days ago somebody was telling me. This is just example. We are not criticizing anyone, just for our understanding. Remember, the purpose of roza is to become righteous. That was the only purpose, to become righteous. So there's a gentleman over here. He owns a convenience store, and he has some lady, a Christian lady that works for him. She was telling us, and remember, this is just an example, not a personal thing. Okay? And we are not criticizing anyone because everyone has their own way of doing things. It has nothing to do with you or me. But I wanted to show you that purpose of Roza is to become righteous, to become a good human. She was saying, I love my boss. He's a really good man until your Muslim Ramzan Roza comes. Then he is the best of the devil, evil person. What did she say? That he is the best of the boss. He's the best boss, and she's been working there for a long time. Until your Ramzan and Roza comes, then he's the best of the evil, a devil, a evil person. And I said, why would you say that? How so? She said, when he's hungry, he becomes angry. And everything he puts on me. For example, she was giving me example that when times to fill up the cooler, he would say, don't you know I'm in Roza, I'm hungry, I don't ever, you do it, and he will cuss at her and make her work extra hard. And he would not do anything during the daytime until after the iftari. After that, he will become that good boss that he always is. Once he eat around 7:30 or so, he will become that good person he normally is. What was the purpose of Roza? To be righteous. You're supposed to do even better. He's not a bad person. He just become hungry and become angry. That is not the purpose of Roza. So this is just an example, one single example. We cannot apply this to everyone. Here the example was to show the purpose of the Roza is not to become hungry and angry, but to become righteous, become conscious. Isn't that what Mullah said? To become conscious of the others and good deeds. It is the evidence that the true meaning and the purpose of Roza was not to just starve oneself, but to become righteous and pure, al-muttaqin, from all the evil deeds. Again, Roza was decreed upon you so you may become righteous. Become righteous. All right. So Roza of the Zahir and Batin, we learned in our second chapter on Tariqa that it is this part over here. This is the part that we need to remember from Wajahdin. Let me see if I can highlight that so you can see. All right, we can do it. Some reason it's not letting me highlight. There we go. Maybe not. Okay, it's not letting me highlight. Anyway, I'm talking about this paragraph here. Thus, God allusion in the fasting in the month of Ramadan is that one who joins the dawat of Tawil should seek the reality of Shariat from the Batin, not the Zahir. Those who join the dawat of the Tawil, and Tawil belongs to Ali, and Tawil belong to Ali as Zaman, then they must seek the reality of the Shariat from the Batin, not the Zahir. This day signifies the Zahir, meaning भूखा रहना वो जाहिर को शो करता है. तंजील and night significant the बातीन the तावील. अगर हमारा तरीका बातीनी है, हमारा तरीका बातीन है, एसेंस है, तो अगर कोई कहता है कि नहीं मेरे को जाहिर में रहना है और बातीन को नहीं देखना है, तो वो क्या कह रहा है? वो ये कह रहा है कि मुझे सिर्फ वो चाहिए जो मुझे दिखता है जाहिर में, उसका असल नहीं चाहिए। मुला ने इसके लिए फरमान फरमाया है कि तुम नादान हो, तुम छिलके खाते हो, एसेंस को छोड़ देते हो। There is a फरमान of Imam that you are ignorant, that you eat the skin, the zahir, and leave the essence, the batin. So be careful with what we do and what we say, because it is about the batin. And this part over here, I wanted to show you once again. And well, it's gonna let me highlight this time. Okay. For the followers of Ramzan, क्या कहा? जो रमजान को फॉलो करते हैं, who are believers, और जो ईमान वाले हैं. Conditions, जो रमजान को फॉलो करते हैं और जो ईमान वाले हैं. That understanding is through the तावील. क्योंकि कोई रमजान को फॉलो ही नहीं कर सकता है और कोई ईमान वाला हो ही नहीं सकता है जब तक कि वो तावील बातीन को ना समझ ले. You cannot follow the Ramzan, nor you can be righteous, the believer, one with the iman, until you understand the tawil. Meaning you become wise. Because tawil is another word for wisdom. Because you cannot be wise until you have the wisdom, the tawil, the batin, the deeper understanding. Not through the zahir. Not through the zahir. In the zahir, edible things are accumulated during the day. Once the day elapses, during the temporal night of the Zahiri fasting of Ramadan, they may eat the physical edible, but that were collected during the temporal day. यानी कि जाहिर से आपने जो फायदा उठाया, अब उसको रात में खाओ. क्या मतलब? उसको बातीन के अंदर से उसको लो. उसकी बातीन से तुमको शिफा मिलेंगी और ताकत मिलने वाली है. Just like in daytime when you're hungry, you are weak and you may even become angry. At the night, in the batin, in the tawil, you take that and become healthier and stronger. That's what it means. All right. And then we had talked about the ginan, the roza of the head, and we had talked about all 10 of the rozas. And let's start our today's session number 3. And this is something this gentleman had talked about when he had talked to Imam Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah Salvatullah Alayhi. May our soul be sacrificed to him. And this was the one he was talking about. This hadith is Sharif from Jama al-Tirmidhi, where Prophet Muhammad says that in the time of Shariat, if you do not follow the most of the command, 90%, then you are doomed. But in the time of the Hakikat, time of the Qiyamah, it will only require 10% for you to receive the Nijat, the salvation. On the same line, Imam is talking with this gentleman. And I will share with whoever like to read this. This is their conversation, okay? In the matter of Ismaili praying only 3 times daily instead of 5 times, are not keeping Roza generally in the month of Ramadan. he told me two things, meaning Mola Bapa told me two things when he asked Mola Bapa that in the Quran there was a specific mention of the number of daily namaz. It was only a tradition. The other was that there was a hadith where the Holy Prophet said that if during this lifetime the people of Arabia back in 1400 years ago did not observe 90% of the injections, 10 would be forgiven. But after his death, if the followers observe the 10% and leave the 90%, will still be forgiven. The hadith is confirmed in a book of on the life of Prophet by Martin Links, which I read this recently. The world is but over 2 days. This is one of Farman that we read earlier, in which have a thought to become purified by performing ibadat. And ibadat are of a few different kinds. Ilmi and amli. Be righteous and through the zikr. Amli, be righteous and through the zikr, ibadat. The Hakiki believers does not keep fast only in the month of Ramzan, but he has always 360 days for the fast. Not a single day's work is committed during 360 days. It is not a fast. Any bad deeds not allowed. And that is the Roza. It is the fast not to harm other. Remember the example? You see why I had given that example? It is a fast not to harm other. It is, however, not a fast to shut the mouth and don't eat and do other immoral work of the sin. And this is an imaginary fast. ये जो भूखा रहने का रोजा है ना वो ख्याली पुलाव है खाली वो इमेजिनरी है always think with care and think in such a way that no evil thought may create in your heart, as well as no thought comes in the heart of committing jealousy for other. That is the roza of the batin. And we had talked about this ayat again. So let me come to this number 3. What is Ramzan? And that is our focus point for the day. Because it says whoever follows Ramzan. A Ramzan, a month you cannot follow because you don't have to follow, it will come every year. But whoever follows Ramzan. So let's look at these ayats again very carefully. Very carefully. The month of Ramzan in which was revealed the Quran is the guidance for the people and clear proof of the guidance and saturation. So So whoever cites this word, very important one. Whoever cites the month of Ramzan, let him fast. जब आपको रमजान नजर आए ना, जब आपको रमजान मिल जाए, जब आप रमजान को पहचान ले, जब आप रमजान को देख ले, तो खामोश हो जाना, अपना मुंह बंद कर देना. क्या कहा कि जब आपको रमजान नजर आए, ये कौन है रमजान जो आपको नजर आएगा? आपको मैं हिंट देने के लिए कहता हूं, अर्ज करता हूं, मौला का फरमान कि जब आपको वो नूर और हैप्पीनेस मिले, to keep it to yourself, be quiet, be quiet. When you receive the light and the happiness, it is your, keep quiet, keep quiet. मुंह बंद कर देना. यहां पर फरमाया गया आयत के अंदर, so whoever cites the month of Ramzan. In Wajidin, the word month is for the Imam. So whoever cites the month of Ramzan, इमाम जिसका नाम रमजान था. एंड किसका टाइटल था रमजान? किसका टाइटल था रमजान? कि जो अली जमान तक पहुंच जाए, क्योंकि रमजान मौला अली के लिए था, कि जो अली के राजों तक पहुंच जाए, जो अली जमान तक पहुंच जाए, जब उसको अली जमान का हकीकी जलवा, नूर, हकीकत, राज पता चल जाए, then keep Roza. When you reach to the Ali Zaman, when you find his Nur, his secret, keep quiet, keep Roza. O you who have believed, decreed upon you is fasting as it was decreed upon those before you. Remember ये word? क्योंकि हर जमाने के लिए है कि जब भी आप रमजान तक पहुंच जाएं तो चुप हो जाना. ये हमारे जमाने के लिए नहीं है, हर जमाने के लिए है. So that you may become righteous. So you may become righteous. Roza is not compulsory for those in the travel and those who is sick. क्या मतलब इसका? कि जब आप अपनी जर्नी पर है, अपनी रूहानी जर्नी पर है, तब तक आप रोजा नहीं रख सकते. यानी कि आप चुप नहीं हो सकते हैं. आपको सवालात पूछने होते हैं. आपको पूछना होता है कि मैं रमजान तक किस तरह पहुंचूं, मैं इमाम तक किस तरह पहुंचूं, मैं किस तरह से इमाम के नूर को पाऊं, मैं किस तरह से इमाम के राजों को जानूं. while you are in traveling, or if you have a ill concepts, यहाँ पर sickness से मुराद ill concepts है. Do not keep quiet. Ask question. Ask question. So you may get to and find and cite the Ramzan. Wajidin chapter 33, requirements, necessity of Roza and its Tawil. And you can see and find this in Urdu book, page number 309 to 331. We're not going to read all these books. We're going to just talk about this too. And we all just read this part right there from Wajidin. So let's read this one. For the followers of the Ramzan, who are believers, that understand is through the Tawil, not through the Zahir. क्योंकि रमजान का जो महीना था उसको ढूंढना था. भाई ढूंढने की क्या जरूरत है? कैलेंडर को खोलो, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि रमजान का महीना कब आ रहा है. आपको ढूंढने की जरूरत तो नहीं है. लेकिन यहाँ पर जाहिर की बात ही नहीं हो रही थी. यहाँ पर तो उस रमजान की बात हो रही थी जो अली था, अली मुर्तजा था और आज अली जमान है. It was not never about the month in the physical calendar, one of the month in the calendar, but it was actually the Imam and his Tawil, Ali Murtaza and his Tawil. It was about that. Let me show you a chart here. Why? I hope everyone knows that in the calendar, in the Muslim calendar, Ramzan is the 9th month of the year. 9th month of the year. And if you see here, you will find amazing thing. In the hierarchy of religion, Hudud-ud-Din के अंदर 9वां महीना जो है वो अली मुर्तजा के लिए है, असास के लिए है। तो पहला महीना जो है वो मुहर्रम के लिए है, वो मुस्तजीब के लिए है। दूसरा महीना सफर माजून के लिए है। तीसरा रबीउल अव्वल माजून मुतल्लक के लिए। आपने देखा इस्लामिक कैलेंडर वो हुदूद दीन के ऊपर रखा गया है। एंड आई विल शेयर दिस डायग्राम विथ यू। कहा गया कि जब आप यहां से चलें, यानी कि आप मुस्तजीब से माजून से दाई और दाई से हुज्जत और बाप तक पहुंचे, और जब आप इमाम से याद रखें, इमाम से अली के राजों को पा लें, देख लें, जान लें। when you begin your journey from Mazun to Mustajib to Da'i to Hujjat and come to the Imam. And through and with the Imam, when you find the month of Ramzan, what month this was? Number 9. And that is the Ali. That is the Ali. So when you receive the Tawil, इसीलिए कहते हैं कि हमारे मजहब की बातें बाहर ना करो। आप क्या करते हो? आप रोजा तोड़ते हो, आप अपना मुंह खोल देते हो, अपने राजों को, हमारे जमात के, हमारे इमाम के राजों को दूसरों को बताकर रोजा तोड़ देते हो। चुप रहो, रोजा रखो, ये हमारी जमात के लिए है। What is written is for all, Maula Baba says, but the batin and interpretation is for us, for our Jamaat only. This ilm is given not to argue, but to give you the understanding and the strength and the confidence that what you are doing in our tariqah is correct. And those are for our Jamaat only. So when you reach the Tawil and the Nur and the understanding of the Ali and Asas and the Tawil, keep Roza. Those who go outside and open their mouth, what they are doing, they are breaking the Roza. And you see, in the month end, in the Eid, what happens in the Eid? The namaz is offered in the open ground. Azan is the calling, and khutbah is preaching. And when can we go out and talk about the Imam and our tariqah? When? Only when we are completely understand our tariqah, the tawil of our tariqah, have that understanding and confidence. And I had given few examples in our previous session. But when you don't have that understanding, keep Roza. We should not be talking about our tariqah outside, because it is not the Eid yet, meaning we are not done with the Roza yet, meaning we are still in the 360 days Roza. But there will be a day, don't worry, there will be a day for those who have finished the Roza. You want me to give example? You already know this example. Look at all the Imams before Imam Aka Sultan Muhammad Shah Salawatullah Alayhi. And look at what Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah and Hazrat Imam is doing. Openly, they are telling the world. Openly, they are telling the Ummah that we are the Ali Nabi Aulad Ali and we are the Imam. But they're still not telling them about our tariqah, are they? Follow Imam. If nothing you understand and can do, please only follow Imam. And look at what Imam is doing. He is telling the world and the Ummah, we are the Ali Nabi Aulad Ali. And we are the descendant and the direct Imam from Mawla Ali and his progeny. But they are not telling anyone about our tariqah. Why are we disclosing our tariqah to others? Our tariqah is for us, Ismailis. And once you have their confidence and their understanding and their ta'wil, then you can talk about it. But your words will change. Your vocabulary will change. And the way you will explain, no one will be able to argue and they will not criticize you. They will not call you wrong. हमारी एक बहन कह रही थी कि वो कह रहे हैं कि हम काफिर हैं. हम वो मुसलमान हैं जिन्होंने हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की इस हिदायत पर अमल किया कि आप वो हैं जिन्होंने मेरी इतरत और मेरी किताब को पकड़ के रखा है. You are the one who have hold fast to the progeny and the book. How can anyone say you are not Muslim? But our vocabulary makes a huge difference. What we say and how we say is the learning part and may be an issue. So do not get yourself in argument. Keep yourself away from the argument until the time of Eid comes, meaning until you have a complete understanding of the batin and have the vocabulary, have that confidence to speak. Until then, keep Roza. So let me stop here so we may have some time for comments and question. Ji.
Subhanallah, sir, Subhanallah. Friends, please share your questions in the chat room. Sir, we don't have any questions yet in the chat room. Any friends have any questions, please unmute your device.
यानी मदद अच्छा
यानी मदद।
अपन ईद जो बनाते हैं तो ये 360 का जो अपन रोजा रखते हैं उसकी ईद बनाते हैं.
हम जो ईद ऑब्जर्व करते हैं, ईद उल फितर की आप बात कर रहे हैं, वो एक ज़ाहिरी ईद है. याद रखें कि ज़ाहिरी महीने के बाद, ज़ाहिरी रोजे के बाद हम एक ईद मनाते हैं. राइट? यू एग्री विद मी जलाल भाई? एक ज़ाहिरी महीने के आखिर में एक ज़ाहिरी रोजे के बाद हम एक ज़ाहिरी ईद मनाते हैं. लेकिन इस ज़ाहिरी ईद का मतलब जो था, अगर उसको हमने नहीं सोचा समझा, वही हमने वापस किया कि बातीन को छोड़कर उसके ज़ाहिर के ऊपर चले गए हम. ईद का बातीनी मतलब क्या था कि खुले आम हम इमाम को जाहिर करें, इमाम की बात करें, अपने मजहब की नहीं, इमाम की बात करें. तो ये अभी जो नाचीज ने एग्जाम्पल दिया कि देखो इमाम ने ईद बना दी है. एक मोमिन के लिए रोजाना ईद हो सकती है अगर वो जाहिर से बातीन के अंदर आ गया है. हमारे लिए सेलिब्रेशन रोजाना हो सकता है, चूंकि रोजाना रोजा है, रोजा भी रोजाना है तो ईद भी रोजाना है। देखा आपने? There is a physical and there is a batin, and batin is for us, our तरीका। तो बातीन के अंदर क्या करना होता है? जिस तरह से बातीन के रोजे हैं, इस तरह से बातीन के अंदर ईद भी है। और ईद के अंदर खुले आम हमको अपने मजहब के बारे में, इमाम के बारे में, हम खाली इमाम को देखें वो क्या कर रहा है, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि इमाम तो रोजाना ही ईद मना रहा है, क्योंकि वो रोजाना कहता है मैं आले नबी औलाद अली हूं, विदाउट एनी आर्ग्यूमेंट, विदाउट एनी नो वन इज चैलेंजिंग हिम। अगर आप उस दर्जे पे पहुंचते हैं, यानी कि आप अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग को उस दर्जे पे लाते हैं, then you will be able to do the same thing. And you see there are so many people today in our tariqa, in our scholars, they are openly talking about imam and our tariqa without any arguments, without any doubts, with a confidence. But until then, keep roza. Only celebrate Eid or observe Eid when you are understanding the month of Ramzan. Ji.
Thank you so much.
So we still don't have any question in the chat. Any friends have any question?
On a lighter note, I'm sure some of us are still kind of sleepy after having a great night, the Lailatul Qadr, and so much tasbiyat and ibadat last night. So it is okay if you don't have it, but you can ask next time if you like. Just for a reminder, there was a request that we talked about the Batini Roza और उसके फवाइद. We had talked about, we had someone asked. So to let you know, we will be holding 2 sessions on the Batini Roza. How can we just talk about Zahiri Roza, but we don't go into detail of the Batini Roza and its benefit? So next week, we will talk about this. The subject will change from Ramzan and Roza to the benefit of the Batini Roza. How do we understand that? So we will pick up the book, Pir bin Diyad Jawamardi and Wajh-e-Din, and we will see how we can observe the Batini Roza and what are the benefit of Batini Roza. Inshallah Ta'ala, please pray for us. So now do we have any question? You can unmute and ask. If not,
अच्छा, ये जो
जी जमाल भाई.
बहुत से लोग 786 लिखते हैं, तो उसका मतलब मेरे को समझ में आ गया बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम, लेकिन उसके निचले 110 लिखते हैं, 110 लिखते हैं, उसका क्या रीजन है, उसका मतलब क्या?
वो तो आप उसी को पूछ सकते हैं जो लिखता है.
अच्छा,
Right?
ओ ठीक है.
तो बहुत सारे आपको देखें जमाल
जी
भाई,
जी
बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं, यानी कि जैसा 786 बिस्मिल्लाह के लिए इसलिए लिखा गया कि इतने अंडरस्टैंडिंग है खुदा के नाम के, रब के नाम के, खालिक के अल्फाजों को जब जोड़ा गया तो उसका तादाद जो है, इसकी क्वांटिटी जो है, become 786. Just like that, 110 is the understanding of the ism or the imam. But why are we worried about who is writing what? For example, we write yum. Someone can say, why do we write yum? when it is Ya Ali Madad? You see, that is not a good question or genuine question, because people do things to make it easier for themselves, or they're just being lazy. They don't want to write Bismillah Rahman Rahim, so they write 786. You see, two way of looking at things. So why are we worried about that? That who writes 110? Who cares who's writing 110? Would that knowing what 110 will bring you any spiritual power, spiritual understanding? Would it give you the didar of the nur by knowing what 110 is? If not, then we just wasted our time, right? So when we think of a thing, please come out of the zahir and physical things. Don't worry about what other does. Who cares what other does? भाई दूसरे लोग तो पता नहीं क्या क्या करते हैं. हमारा फोकस कहाँ होना चाहिए? हमारा फोकस हमारे मजहब में बातीन की तरफ होना चाहिए. हम क्यों अपना वक्त जाया कर रहे हैं जाहिर और लोगों के अंदर, शरीयत के अंदर, और पता नहीं क्या क्या लोग कर रहे हैं. सारा दिन हमारी उलझन ये रहती है कि मेरा मुसलमान भाई ये कर रहा है तो क्यों करता है और मैं क्यों ना करूं. जबकि हमारी तवज्जो होनी चाहिए कि मेरा इमाम क्या कर रहा है, मेरा इमाम क्या बोल रहा है, मुझे क्या करना है मेरे तरीके के अंदर. आप वो फोकस करें कि मेरा इमाम मुझे क्या कहता है, what is the फरमान and what can I do to perfect myself in my tariqa. Who cares what other does? So be careful, do not waste your time in that, please. G.
Thank you so much.
Any other comments or question? Okay, Kamini Sahib, I think everybody is tired today and kind of sleepy. We can stop here if you like.
Yes, sir. So there are no questions in the chat.
G. Thank you, everyone. Ya Ali Madad. We'll see you next week.
Yari Madad, sir.
Malali
Ya
Madad.
Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad, sir.
Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad, sir. Shukr.
Ya Ali
Ya Ali
Madad.
Madad, sir.
Ya Ali Madad. Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.